Um, we were talking about you and the kids. Could you describe how the emotional ties and the love and affection that you have for the girls and that they have for you, how do they demonstrate that?
I have a very strong bond with all my children. I stayed home with them. I know every little cut and uh, I know all their secrets. I know, they are pretty affectionate. They all have a different personality. I would say that Trinity is very needy, from a, she needs a lot of hugs. She gets stressed and she'll just come up to me and she, just needs that to feel better and carry on with her day. Layla is more reserved. She tends to bottle her emotions in general. It doesn't matter if it's, if she's excited or if she's scared or, it doesn't matter what it is. That's just how she is. But she likes to be, she likes to eat. I think that's her love language. She likes to, if one of her sisters or if I'm sad, she'll bring me like one of my favorite foods, or like she'll make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or, something like that. Not so much like a physical affectionate person. She doesn't need hugs or, she doesn't need lengthy conversations. Trinity needs, I feel like most of my job in being her mother is listening to her. Just talk about her day and talk about her relationships or, with her friends or with her sisters or Mia likes quality time. She likes to be read to. She likes to, go outside and play. She likes to play video games together. And she is very affectionate. She likes to snuggle with me, especially if she's had a long day or if she's seeking solace, for some reason. She just likes to climb in my lap and snuggle. Celia is, she's very funny. I think she kind of defaults to trying to make people laugh. And that's how she connects with people. She also will ask for hugs when she needs it. And she just likes quality time. I think she feels sometimes that I don't have enough time for her.
You try to carve out some one-on-one time with each of the girls?
I do.
Would that be typically in the evening after they're back from their extracurricular activities and at home with you?
Yes.
Or on weekends?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll take like to Wesco to get there. If you pay, I think it's $15 for a bucket, and then you can get a free refill for the full year. So they like to do that. They like to go to Wesco with me and get the popcorn. We like to go for walks with Luna, the dog, and we like to watch videos on TikTok or YouTube. There are specific channels that they enjoy watching. Yeah, I try to make time for each of the kids individually and together.
How would you describe the situation between the girls and their relationship with their dad right
now? I would say it's very strained. Trinity is very angry with him. She resents him for a lot of things. And she, more recently, I think she feels heartbroken because she tried to talk to her grandma Yoli about things that her dad has done to her and to her sisters, and her grandma didn't listen, and she blamed me, and she said that I was lying to her. So she kind of feels like she doesn't even have a grandma in her anymore, and she blames Tom for that. She would probably be fine if she didn't have a relationship with him moving forward. Layla is, I would say she's conflicted. I think that she loves her dad and wants him to be a good dad, but I think more recently she realizes that, that he has a hard time doing that. And she's afraid of being alone with him, and afraid that he will yell at her, and argue with her or be mean to her sisters. And she doesn't like being around him right now. Celia is okay with him. I think she is easily manipulated by him. He would probably be okay with spending, more time with him than her sisters are. She's more comfortable with it than her sisters are. Mia has been attached to my hip since she was a baby. She's always been mama's girl. She's protective of me as well, unfortunately. And she sleeps with me. She has since she was little. I nursed her until she was 2, and we had a very strong bond, I would say.
How would you describe Mia's relationship with her
dad? She goes with him if she has to. If she's given a choice, she does not choose him. She will choose to go with me.
How would you describe your disposition regarding how you provide love and affection to the kids, and how you provide them with guidance as far as or assistance with their education?
I try to model myself after my own mother. People refer to her as a saint. She has endless patience, and I try very hard to love my children in a way that they receive love. I try, I've read about love languages, and they are all my children are different. They all have different personalities, and I try to make sure that I meet their need for love and affection in a way that they can receive it, or in a way that they understand it.
Are you assisting them as far as their education is concerned to the extent that you can?
Yes.
Stuck with some advanced math?
Right. Right.
And which of your daughters is having a challenge with math right now?
Celia she's in advanced math though. I think that once this is all said and done, and things calm down, and we don't have so many outbursts at home, so many, disruptive events that happen, I I think that we can devote more time and probably get her some tutoring. The teacher has offered her that, some additional help after school. And I think that we could get her grades up, her math grade up.
Do you think that the emotional trauma of this divorce and incidents that have occurred at the house between you and Tom and the girls, do you think that that's impacted the kids' performance from a school standpoint
Yes, absolutely.
in a negative way, correct?
Yes. It's very stressful. It's stressful for me as an adult, and I can't imagine being a kid and having to go through everything that they've endured.
What are you doing as it relates to promoting religious education and upbringing for the girls?
I take them to church on the weekends. They obviously go to a Catholic school. They we observe the, oh, sorry. We observe the, because we're in Lent right now. So fasting and whatnot. I took Layla to all of the meetings for her confirmation preparation, which should happen next fall. And I did the same for Trinity. I made sure that all of them were baptized. It was important to me that they be baptized at the same church, even though we lived in Tennessee for a few years when Mia was born. When it was time for her to be baptized, we made a special trip to Michigan just so that she could be baptized at the same church as her sisters, and where their dad and I had gotten married.
And what are you planning on? I mean, where do you attend church with the girls?
Usually St. John's in Jackson. Before COVID, we used to go to Queens a lot because Celia was in the choir. And before that, Layla was also in the choir until 6th grade. So they sang in the choir at Queens.
Is that something that you plan on continuing with as far as their religious upbringing?
Yes.
You want the younger girls to receive the other sacraments?
Correct.
And what's Tom's position as it relates to the religious upbringing?
He thinks it's a waste of time and money to send them to their Catholic schools. And he thinks it's a waste of time, to go to church on the weekends or ever. He has often told the girls that, that he thinks it's a joke and that, God is not real. He does not, he and I do not agree with raising the children in their faith. It's important to me that they have their faith because I think having a belief in God and having my faith has seen me through a lot of hard times.
Does he undermine your efforts regarding their religious upbringing in the Roman Catholic Church?
Yes, absolutely.
And does he do that in front of the kids?
Yes. He does it to the children as well. He'll tell them directly that God is not real. And, why are you doing this? Because your mom is making you? Yeah.
We want to continue their religious upbringing, though, and their continued participation at either St. John's or at Queens. Is that correct?
Correct. I think that, for example, Trinity participated in the March for Life up in Lansing. Lou and Christy usually sends a bunch of kids to the Capitol for that, but they, because of COVID, they weren't able to do that this year. But she did make a sign and she went to that, and it was especially meaningful, for me, because typically I think I would be someone that society would think should have an abortion, especially with her. Um, Having her so young and we weren't married. Um, it was just very meaningful for me to see her do that.
Um, you have you have limited employment right now, correct?
Correct.
And you haven't been receiving any child support, correct?
Correct.
Um, and, and hardly any financial support from your husband through most of 2020, correct?
Correct.
And nothing in 2021.
Right.
And how do you plan on caring for the kids on the financial aspect of it? I know the court's going to order some child support. Your husband's unemployed, and you have limited employment. How are you going to get by?
I hope that I can get enough so that I can finish school. Enough from the sale of the house and enough from dividing the retirement account.
You don't know where you're going to be living after the marital home sells, do you?
No.
And given the current situation, is it your intent not to return to the marital home?
Right.
So you're going to be seeking some new housing here in the near future after this house sells and after you receive some funds from any retirement accounts. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
And you also testified earlier, I believe, that your parents will be helping you out in that regard.
Yes.
So, do you have any concerns about Tom from a moral fitness standpoint and his ability to parent girls?
Yes. I am very worried. My girls are also very worried about returning and being alone with him. To the point that I've heard them discussing amongst themselves, like they already knew that Trinity wasn't going to have to go with Tom if she didn't want to, that it was probably going to be her choice because she's almost 16. And they were talking about Trinity just going with him anyway, so that she can kind of be a level of protection for them. A pair of eyes and ears. So if anything happened, but that's, they were talking amongst themselves, and that's not her job. She's 16. She's still a child. Or she's 15. I'm sorry.
What are you willing to do to try to facilitate and encourage a relationship between the girls and their dad?
I think that they all need counseling, individually and together. Maybe perhaps some family counseling. He refuses to acknowledge the things that he has done in the past. He refuses accountability, to the point that I mean, it almost makes us speechless, I would say. Um, just his flat out refusal. He denies that he, was cutting the door down with a saw. He denies facts, and it is extremely upsetting and frustrating for all of us. Um, especially for the kids.
So when you say they all should be in counseling, are you including your husband Tom as well?
Yes. I think he absolutely would benefit from some sort of counseling or therapy. I don't really know what specifically he would need, but I think it would absolutely help his relationship with the kids.
So that's something that you would promote because you would like to see him have a better relationship?
Yeah, of course. I wish that, this wasn't an issue. When I married him, I had a completely different idea of who he was as a person and the type of husband and father he was going to be.
And because of that conduct, has that caused you to lose your love and affection for him?
Yes,
There's no chance of any kind of reconciliation, correct?
correct. I think it's beyond repair. Um,
Do you believe that the girls are all old enough to express a preference as to what they would like to have as it relates to custody?
I do think the older three are. I think they could articulate their reasons why. I think Mia would struggle. Um, just because she's only 7.5.
Um, are you requesting that the court conduct an interview with the kids?
Yes, I know that Trinity especially would like to um, speak up for herself.
I'm going to kind of jump over to the motion that was filed by your husband saying that you were selling or disposing of personal property.
Okay.
Remember that motion that was filed at the beginning of this year?
Right. Yes.
Um, did you remember what your answer was to that part of the motion that he said you were taking these things or selling them?
I said that most of those items were still in the house or they were in his possession, like the passport and license and that such.
So he indicates driver's license, social security card, passport, birth certificates. Tell the court what you know about those documents.
I had left them in the usual place that we kept those documents. There was a folder and a file, basically. And I took my passport, not my passport, my social security card, my birth certificate. I'm adopted, so I only have one. And I also took my girls' birth certificates. I also took the marriage license and I took the title for the old Sequoia, the 2005 Sequoia, that was in my name. And I put all of those in a folder and I kept them in my car. And Tom took those
Why did you do that?
because I was afraid of him taking them. Um,
Had he taken other things from you that caused you
right.
to feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, he's taken things from me in the past. Like he's taken my keys and he doesn't uh you know, he doesn't respect my things, I guess. He doesn't care if like the dog chews up my clothing or shoes or um she's destroyed a couple pairs of shoes because he let her out into the house, not kept her in the kitchen, like we usually do.
So do you have your social security card and your birth certificate and your marriage license?
No, I do not.
Is it your testimony that he's taken them from you? Or
Yes.
from your vehicle?
Yes.
And yet he's accusing you of taking his.
Correct.
So it's your testimony that you haven't taken those items from him?
Correct.
What about 2 pairs of blue jeans or 2 pairs of jeans?
I don't know anything about those.
Well, 1 pair of new tennis shoes.
I don't know anything about those either.
What about golf clubs?
I don't know. I think that he has them.
Where would he have them?
Probably at his parents' house or maybe his grandma's house.
What about the lawn tractor that he says belongs to his dad?
I think that they came and got it.
And
when
who's
I think that either Tom's dad came and got it, or perhaps Tommy took it at some point when I wasn't at the house. His dad has a trailer that he'd be able to put it on, and we don't own anything like that.
And what condition was that lawn tractor in?
It was old. It was his dad's, so it's probably 25 years old, maybe older.
Was there anything about the condition of the tractor that would make it difficult to move?
Oh, yeah. The last time I tried to use it, I couldn't get it started. I think that it's kind of finicky. You have to like do a couple things before you start it, and I don't know how to get it started. And there was a flat tire.
When was the last time you saw the tractor?
October.
Of 2020?
Right. October of 2020. Tom's dad, actually, I heard him in the garage. He had let himself in because his parents have a key to our house, and he let himself into the side door of our garage, and he was going to borrow the furniture dolly and some clamps because he was going to make a repair to something at his house. And he told me that he was going to buy a new tractor, and he was probably going to come pick up his old tractor to turn it in or trade it in.
So is it your testimony you didn't take the tractor?
Yes, I did not take the tractor.
Did you just sell the tractor? Did somebody else come pick it up?
No, I did not sell the tractor.
He also makes an allegation about the home computer. Your understanding that that's a Surface tablet?
Right. I have that. I've kept that in my possession.
And how long have you been using that Surface tablet?
Since we bought it, I think in 2016.
And so who uses that tablet besides you?
My girls use it. It's easier to type on the laptop than it is to use their iPads for, papers or whatever. It's easier to print things off from the laptop as well. That's why it's primarily mine.
Do you seek to be awarded that in the division of the marital estate? You want to keep that?
Yes, I would like to keep it.
Were you using that laptop to get information together to answer the interrogatories that had been sent to you?
Yes.
And did you have a thumb drive that you were using to get that out, to get all that information together and store it on a thumb drive?
Yes, correct.
That thumb drive come up missing?
Yes. I think Tom took it when he got into my car in October. And
We'll object to speculation, Judge.
You can say when it disappeared. You can't speculate as to how it disappeared.
okay. It was gone from my car. I kept it in my car
And
in October of 2020.
2020. And that's when the other documents came up missing.
Correct. I didn't
Or
realize it. I didn't realize it right away because I kept them in a folder and I kept those in the back. So it wasn't something that I would have noticed right away.
Well,
Yes,
while you're
but-
pausing, let me ask a question. So
Sure.
this thumb drive that disappeared, was it, where was it the last time you saw it?
It was in my car. It was in the cup holder of my car. I kept receipts and some business cards in there, and it was sitting in that cup holder.
So it wasn't removed from the computer, it was removed from the cup holder.
Right.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Navarro.
Thank you, Your Honor. As it relates to parenting time going forward, what kind of parenting time would you be asking the court as it relates to parenting time that Tom would have with the girls?
I would, at this point, I think he should have supervised visitation because the kids are afraid to be alone with him. They're afraid of what he's going to say and how he's going to treat them when they return. Right now, they don't want to return home.
And so what kind of setting are you seeking as far as some supervised parenting time for Tom and the girls?
What do you mean? Setting?
Where do you want that to take place? You want to be providing the supervision? How do you see that going forward?
I would be. I think his parents, specifically his dad. I don't think his dad would, let his son, tear into the girls verbally, or, his dad has always been the one to kind of tell Tom, like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that to them. You need to go easier on them. You don't need to be so hard on them. Don't spank them like that. They're just little girls. So his dad is not afraid to speak up.
What about a counselor or therapist or a observed supervised parenting time by somebody who could maybe provide a report?
I think that'd be great. If a counselor, I think that he himself needs counseling, and as well as the 4 girls together with him, like in some sort of family counseling. I think they all would benefit from that.
Are you seeking an order from the court to that effect?
Yes.
Are you willing to cooperate with and follow any reasonable recommendations of any counselor as it relates to parenting time for Tom and the girls?
Yes.
You willing to facilitate the transportation to and from if necessary?
Yes.
Are you in agreement that the marital home should be immediately listed and sold?
Yes.
Are you seeking an equal division of the net proceeds from the sale of the home?
Yes.
And previously, you provided contribution from separate property, which was your settlement in a lawsuit, where you used a significant amount of money for down payment on the house. Isn't that true?
Yes, it's true.
And is it your understanding that you realize that since that occurred a number of years ago, that that's now been commingled and that's now marital?
I understand.
And as it relates to the retirement accounts that your husband has through his former employer or current employer, you're seeking an equitable division of that as well, correct?
Correct.
Are you seeking 50% of that? You seeking half of that?
I thought we said 60%.
So you're seeking 60% of that.
Correct.
And is that because of your current economic status?
Yes.
Is that also because what you attribute from a fault standpoint in the marriage based on your husband's conduct?
Yes.
Are you in agreement that spousal support needs to be reserved at this time, that you should receive spousal support?
Yes.
Seeking to retain the motor vehicle that you currently have in your possession?
Yes.
And do you be responsible for the debt that's on that?
Yes.
And about the motor vehicle that your husband has, that has some significant debt on it as well. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And you're asking the court to award that vehicle to him and award the debt to him?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that there's a cosigner on that loan?
I do believe his dad co-signed for that loan.
The only joint debt that you have with your husband, is it fair to say, is the mortgage on the house?
Yes.
Are you seeking an equal division of the bank accounts that you have?
I understood that they would be closed. The joint banking or the joint checking and savings would be closed.
And there's not much funds in those right now, is there?
Right. Well, closed after the sale of the house because the mortgage is tied to those accounts.
Is it your understanding that your husband has received a severance package from his employment?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that he's utilizing those funds to continue to maintain marital expenses that are associated with the house?
Yes.
And are you seeking an order from the court that would require that to be continued?
Yes.
And what are you seeking from a temporary child support pending his gaining reemployment?
I don't know what to ask for specifically.
You feel that some interim child support would be appropriate?
Yes.
Are you aware of what the current order says for child support?
Last I knew it was $4,000. I think he was imputed at $80,000 a year because he has a master's degree and of his, work experience.
Do you remember what was recommended by the the friend of the court through the conciliation process?
It was over $2,000. It was about, I want to say 2,300.
I'd ask the court to take traditionals of its own file. The number's in there. We don't need to speculate on what it
I was
is.
just looking at it. It says $2,148 per month for 4 children.
Okay.
And you would like to at least retain the children going forward pending further order of the court, is that correct?
Yes.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Mr. Navarro? I didn't quite understand what you said.
I asked her if she would like to retain possession of the children on a temporary basis pending further order of the court.
Okay.
And your answer to that, Anita, is?
Yes.
And so you would like the court to modify what the temporary order says, to which we both have filed objections to some reasonable amount of support pending your husband's reemployment?
Yes, correct.
So Anita, you're aware of some video recordings of a lot of shouting and screaming and commotion and disruption in the household, correct?
Yes.
And you're responsible for part of that in the sense that you allowed yourself to get to the point where what occurred.
Yes.
Is it your position that it's really your husband's actions that provoked that?
Yes. He antagonizes me. And, you know, everyone that I talk to about what happens, they always tell me, don't react. But it's very hard not to, I guess. He knows how to push my buttons. And he knows what will trigger me. And, you know,
He's made allegations that you are the perpetrator of domestic violence against him. How do you respond to that?
I disagree. I deny that. I am not the one that starts it.
He's alleged that you've intentionally damaged the vehicle that was parked in the driveway after a previous argument and incident. And you were in tears, the kids were in tears. Did you intentionally run into that vehicle?
No, I did not. That was not on purpose. It was an accident.
Describe that accident to the court.
I was leaving the driveway and I tried to stop, and it was icy. There's a sheet of ice on the driveway, and my front brakes still need to be repaired or replaced. And I clipped the front end of his car, of his bumper.
And when you say his car, what car are you referring to?
His Subaru Forester, I think.
And is that vehicle parked in the driveway?
Yes.
Is it operable? Does it run?
Yes, his car is, yes. It was parked in front of his car. His Subaru was parked in front of our old 2005 Sequoia, which does not run. It's been parked there for the past 2 years. So he parks in front of it sort of on an angle.
And your vehicle was parked in the garage and you pulled out of the garage onto the driveway?
Correct.
Is there a slope on the driveway?
No, there's no slope.
Did you apply the brakes? You said you were on ice and you were sliding.
Right. I kind of went over a hump because of the ice. It was only like an inch or so. But when I did that, it was enough that, I had gone too far. And when I applied the brakes, it wasn't enough. I still was going in the direction of his car.
Did he call the police?
Yes, he did.
Explain to them what happened?
I went and I got gas, and because that's what I was leaving for, and also to talk to my parents, because Tom and I had just gotten in an argument and I was crying and upset. And when I came back, I pulled into the garage, and then the police officer came and he talked to Tommy, talked to me. And then he didn't do anything. He filed a report only for the purpose of so Tom could have it for his personal insurance.
Do you know if a claim was submitted?
I'm pretty sure a claim was submitted. His car was repaired. It was missing, or he drove his parents' Jeep for a couple days, and then he also had a rental for a period of time.
Thank you. I have no further questions of the witness.
Okay, I was planning to call quits at 4:30. Let's try to figure out when we're going to resume. And you can start your cross, Mr. Hugaboom, when we resume. So I'm going to pull up my calendar and see what I got coming up. Uh, 2:00 next Friday is open. And for the balance of that afternoon?
That's the 19th, Judge?
Yes, the 19th.
I'm available.
I am available as well.
Okay, and I definitely want to interview the girls. I don't like doing that over Zoom. We do have the ability to bring them into the courthouse. I think I'd like to interview them in person, one at a time. Let me see what my calendar looks like for doing that. I usually try to do that at the end of the school day, so that I'm not interfering with school. We look back and see what would work. What are their extracurricular stuff that's going on now?
Trinity is the only one. She has softball practice twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, and Saturday mornings as well. But
So Monday or Wednesday might work for all four.
yes, Tuesdays.
All right, hold on.
Bailey and Layla have counseling with Lisa Veenstra.
We'll stay away from Tuesday then. All right, let me see what I got. Monday the 15th at let's say 3:30 or however soon you can get here.
Okay.
Does that work for you, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, bring all 4. Just tell them the judge would like to talk to them. I don't want you to coach them at all. I will speak to each of them individually, and probably I'll do that by age. So come to the courthouse. You'll need to check in at the front door. Peter, how does that work with the wait while?
They talk with the security guard and they fill out something. Their name gets put on a screen. They say they're here to see you. And when we're ready, we'll hit a button up here and it'll direct them to come upstairs.
So you don't have to clear it ahead of time with the.
No, I can let the security guard just
Okay.
let them know to send them directly.
But then once they get here, they log into wait while, and then when we say we're ready, then they bring them upstairs.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. All right, so just check in with the guard at the Wesley Street entrance. It's actually the only way you can get into the courthouse.
Okay.
And I will plan on seeing them 3:30 or shortly after, however long it takes you to get here. I'll make sure I stick around. I won't spend a lot of time with them. I don't quiz kids as to what's going on at home. It's a very simple interview where I ask them what their preference is. And then I will typically ask why, just so that I know there's a reasonable basis for the preference. But I don't quiz them about what's going on at home. The last thing I want to do is put kids in the middle of a conflict, but I'm required to ask them what their preference is. So I will do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all. We'll see your kids, ma'am, on Monday, and then we'll see all of you next Friday.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good evening.